I know what you're thinking. This doesn't look like Nashville. You're right. It's not. Where in the world am I? I'm in Denver visiting a daughter. But this week we're going to talk about things that people ask me the most here on this show. They ask me about Nashville. I'm going to answer all of your questions, but I'm also going to look around a little bit here because it's awfully pretty.
In this show, I ask you all the time to ask me questions. What is it that you want to know about the Middle Tennessee area? Different ideas for me to cover on new shows, or maybe just some quick questions that I can answer quickly for you. And in today's show, I'm going to do just that. Here are some of the top 5 questions. Actually, I think there's 7. Top 7 questions that I've gotten in recent weeks about the Middle Tennessee area. And I'm going to answer for them right here. I'm going to answer them for you right here. They may be your questions too, but please, as you think of things, put them in the comments here, and I promise you I will answer each and every one of them. Be sure to stick around to the last one, because by far it is the best. And I can guarantee you there are lots of people who would agree with this question. Question number 1.
Thank you for this. Would love to see Mount Juliet. Hard to find info on that area.
Thanks, Melissa, for that. I know Mount Juliet is a hot area that people are very, very interested in. Mount Juliet's in Wilson County. Wilson County is east of downtown Nashville. It's the one commuter train that we have that does go in and out of town. It's not on an every single day basis, but it's something that's a great benefit for those who live in Mount Juliet. It might be a great area for people who want to be by the lake. So with that in mind, I want you to know that I have a specialist on my team who works and lives in the Mount Juliet area, has raised his children there. We've done a couple videos. I will put them here in the comments so you can go straight to those videos and take a look. And then if you would like, we are more than happy to set up a search for you so you can see the homes that would be available within your price point in that Mount Juliet area. Mount Juliet is really highly acclaimed for its school systems. It's a great place for new families to move to Nashville. It gives easy access to town and to the airport, that lake, as I mentioned. And it's a really growing area with lots of newer construction that might be hard to find in some other areas. So I'm glad you asked that question. Mount Juliet, Wilson County, a great space to maybe be your new home. Okay, let's go to question 2.
Are there rentals in these areas that need a safe place for me and my teenager? I've been offered a position in Centennial Medical. I really would like to live in Hendersonville, but not if it's not a safe place.
Super question, Mark. Thank you for asking that. I personally, and nobody on my team personally, works rentals on a regular basis. That's really a totally different animal, just like I don't do commercial work, but I can certainly recommend people who do. You may have seen a video or two that I've done with who I recommend, who is the expert in the rental department, and that is Rachel Aturian of Nashville Apartment Locators.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rachel Aturian, and I'm the managing broker and COO of Nashville Apartment Locators. We are a local real estate brokerage, but we specialize in rentals, and it has been such a huge honor for us over the last year to partner with Susan Thetford and work with so many of her amazing and awesome clients.
So if you're looking for an apartment, truly an apartment, then she will be who I'd recommend, and I'll put her information down here in the comments as well so that you can reach out to her directly. Please let her know that I sent you, because that's how we all work. But Rachel will be the right person for you if you're looking for an apartment to rent. Now, if it's looking for a home to rent, those do sometimes come up on MLS and on Zillow. I will tell you there's a lot of fraud in that kind of business, as far as people can pirate a listing that they see for sale. They can act as if they're the owner. They can tell you they're out of town. There's a lot of fraud that can happen. So if you're looking for a home to rent, possibly, 1-year lease is probably going to be your minimum. If you need less than that, like a 2 or 3 month lease, we might need to find you a long-term housing rental situation. The good thing about that is if you stay into a home, if you rent for over 30 days in one of those long-term stay hotels, then you don't have to pay Tennessee hotel motel tax. That's pretty huge. It's a good savings for you. But there are very few homes that can be rented on a short-term basis like that. It's just too hard to have turnover and the cleanup and repairs that you've got. So let's really fine tune, and once you get more of a plan in mind, give me a call, shoot me an email or something. Let me know what your more specific plans are, and I can specifically help you in finding what might be right for you and your family. Till then, Rachel Arturian, Nashville Apartment Locators. She'll be your best bet for 1-year leases on an apartment.
Susan, I would love to see Columbia and Maury County.
Sandra, you have hit on a really great small town here in Middle Tennessee. Columbia is in Maury County. It's near one of the smaller rivers. Beautiful small town. It was originally going to be way back in the, I don't remember, 1800s. It was going to be the capital of Tennessee. And because of that, they have nice wide streets and a big city square. And I think you may or may not know that it is the mule capital of the world. It brings tens of thousands of people here every April. Was it early April? We've just had it, Mule Day. So there is one video. I've only done one so far, and I'll have to get back down to Columbia to show you a little bit more of the area. But if you're looking for a quaint older home, older town with some older homes in it, boutiques, more local mom and pop than you might find in, big Nashville, then Columbia, about an hour's drive away from Nashville, south in Maury County, might be a great spot for you. Till then, I'll put in the comments a direct link to you so you can see the Maury County Columbia video that we've done here on this show.
Is it easy to grow crops in Middle Tennessee or garden? What about tomatoes, cucumbers, fruit trees?
Well, sunshine and glory, of course you want to know about our gardening situation here in Middle Tennessee. I'm the first to tell you I do not have a green thumb, but here's what I do know. Tennessee and Middle Tennessee, we're kind of in between the north and the south. We're in the middle. Duh. You may or may not know that there are plant hardiness zones, and there's a full map that has been drawn up of what those hardiness zones are. Tennessee falls in the area that's basically green, but as you see, looking at these maps, the further east and west you go, it varies a little bit. But what you're going to find is the plant hardiness zones about the time that when you should start maybe growing a particular plant. Corn, tomatoes, beans, squashes, zucchinis, which is a squash dummy, watermelon, cantaloupes, all those things are really easy to grow here. You've just got to plant them at the right time. So we have a wonderful situation. And once you move here, if you do, you want to have your particular soils tested. So you can find, is it very acidic, how much limestone there is, all the things that are involved with it. So you can make yourself a great garden or have the right soil amenities to grow your garden, to do the specific vegetables and fruits and things that you want to grow. So our Ellington Agricultural Center, which is here in Middle Tennessee, is very helpful with that. And we have lots of gardening clubs. We have lots of plant swaps, that type of thing. But I think it's a great idea. Once you've found your home, then get those soils tested. But as far as in general, how easy is it to grow a garden here? Super easy. And that's gotten to be something that people are very, very interested in doing in recent years here in Nashville. It doesn't take a lot of space. Raised gardens are something people are doing a lot, even in planter beds. Something else people are doing here, and you have to check your restrictions. Please don't put anything that I say without checking restrictions. If you live in a homeowners association, you can plant whatever you want. I've never seen anything against that. But a lot of people are having chickens. They're having their own chickens and having their own eggs. And there's a lot to it. And you've got to be careful with those too, because we do have foxes, and you've got people or things that like to grab your chickens in the night. But the point is, yes, check your restrictions. You might be able to have chickens. Is it easy to grow plants here? Absolutely. If you want to grow seasonings and herbs and plants for your home, go for it. And we have the ability to help you in figuring out what is the right time to put each one of those plants in based on our hardiness zones. I hope that answered the question. Because as I say, I don't have a green thumb. I am trying, though, and I am putting in a garden this year. Problem is, I don't love vegetables. Got to get better at that.
What are some good towns with land that don't have flooding problems or tornadoes?
Amanda, thank you for that question. I actually get that one quite a bit as far as the concern with the flooding and tornadoes. All right, like in any areas, if you're going to live right on top of the river, which a lot of people want to do, they want to be close to the water, they love to kayak, they love to fish. If you're going to be near the water, then you obviously have the potential of flooding. So several answers I can give you that. Every single town, every single city in Nashville or Middle Tennessee surrounds, or all throughout Tennessee, every single town has the possibility, if it has water in it, for flooding. It also has the possibility of flooding if maybe you live on the bottom of a hill, like a street goes like this, and there's a hillside that runs like this and a home here, and then your home is at the bottom end of the street. Water runoff from that side of the street coming on down has the potential of being at your property, has nothing to do with flood waters. It's just heavy rains that coming down and needs to be diverted. Absolutely, every single city, every single town in Nashville or the surrounds has the possibility of flooding, and the improbability of flooding is the same. Now, if that's of concern to you, and of course it would be, in any home that we're looking at, we're going to check to see where it sits in the FEMA flood zone mapping. Every single home, we can find that out. Now, FEMA has mapped the entire country. FEMA has mapped every area of the country. Now, they haven't come out and done a survey, and they haven't surveyed every single lot, but they do have a general flood zone map. Every home we can find where it sits on that flood zone map. If it sits on an X flood zone, that is considered outside of the 100-year flood possibilities. If it there's another flood zone, I think it's AB, and that might be in the 500-year flood zone. So every single home we're going to look at, we'll know where it sits in the flood zone. If the foundation or any part of the foundation of the home that's existing sits in the 100-year flood plain, then you would be carrying flood insurance. If that's something out of the question you don't want, we just say, okay, this house is not part of something that we're going to look at. It's not horribly expensive, and we can get you quotes for that, but I will admit I would not want to take that risk myself. So with that in mind, you might not want to live right on the Harpeth River, or you might not want to live right on the Cumberland River, or you may not want to live right on the Stones River, or see what I get. Middle Tennessee is very green. We have lots of, we have the rivers, and then we have lots of tributaries to the rivers. We have the lakes. So yes, there's a possibility of flooding everywhere in Tennessee. No, there's not probable for flooding in any of it, certainly if you're getting outside of that flood zone. And we have ways of checking that out. Hope that answers the question. Tornadoes. Tornadoes are scary. No question about it. There is no place, I don't think you can say in the country, I guess I haven't ever heard of it in western states, but I've even heard of them in Texas, and I've heard of them everywhere. We do tend to have it. We are in a bowl, so we have the possibility of tornadic activity. Now, do they drop? Occasionally, yes. Do we have protocols of what you should do in case of the possibility of tornadoes? Absolutely. We have the tornado sirens that you'll hear that go off. We have now with the Doppler radar, you're going to know 12 to 24 hours ahead of time if there's the possibility of severe storms or possibility of tornadic activity, good 24 hours later. If it's getting closer and closer and it's really looking more and more possible of that, you're going to hear about it nonstop, and they're going to preempt all of your TV shows on all the networks here that are local and have you see exactly where they're pinpointing what seems to be happening. So you're going to know if it's in the 1500 block of Dakota or over in Germantown, and they're going to give you 15 minutes, get into your safe spot. Something I want to guarantee you is when I'm showing property and someone's determined this is the home we want. Now let's figure out where your tornado shelter is going to be in case we just have heavy winds or tornadoes. we're going to find that spot for you. It's either under a staircase in a closet under the staircase, because the structure of that staircase is great. It's going to be in a basement if there is one. Tennessee doesn't have that many basements unless the topography calls for it. But if so, you're in the basement. Otherwise, you're under a staircase. You're in an interior bathroom with the tile walls, gives it a little bit more structural support. You're in the bathtub because you got the more structural support around the tub. No windows, pillows on your head. We're going to find your spot. I can tell you it's few and far between, but when it is happened, it is devastating. When your time is up, your time is up. And this dog's time is up. Ellie, stop. Quit.
This is a great video, but as sweet as this place is, I get the feeling it's not going to last with this influx from the western and northern states. Sad but true.
Jack, Dr. PR, thank you for that question. You have voiced what I think a lot of people here who are local in Middle Tennessee are a little bit worried about. We have been kind of the it city for the last 8-10 years even, and the growth has been pretty staggering to so many of us who are the natives. It can be tough, but you know what? Growth is tough in any situation, no matter what it is. So yes, I think we've got the problems of any growth in a large town. We've got the problems of just how to migrate into a city, to meld into the culture, and to add to it. I would suggest that people come here if they have an open mind to being a little bit different than maybe what you're used to. I came from Denver, where I was with my daughter, and Denver's quite different from Nashville. For one thing, I had no idea how much deserty it was in the Denver area. Here it's so nice and green and lush, and there they just don't have any rain. It surprised me. It's not wrong. Their landscaping is totally different than ours. It's not wrong, it's just different. So rather than, if I were to move to Denver, rather than try to have a lush lawn and put in a lot of evergreens and trees, you got to learn what works for that area. So I seriously suggest that people do the same here. Learn what works for the area, kind of assimilate into and learn what's going on. And then, as you see things that might be better, just always try to leave a place better than you found it. That's exactly what I learned as a kid. Every room has to be left exactly as if nobody knew you were there. Let's leave Nashville better than we even found it. And right now, it's pretty awesome. There are problems and there's a concern. So let's all work together to make it become better as we grow.
You talk too much before getting to your point.
Oh, that's priceless. Bob, my kids will agree with you 100%. I'll take that under advisement. I'll try to get better. I can't promise, but I will work on it. And absolutely, my kids would agree with you. Get to the point. I'll work on that, Bob. Thanks. So those are my basic, most asked 7 questions. And I know you've got more. So please go ahead and put some of your questions down in the response below. I'll put some of the links that I mentioned in the description below. Go ahead and subscribe to this channel, please, because how else am I going to get information to you? And feel free to reach out to me anytime. I love to talk to the people who are considering making Nashville be their next home. It may not be for you, and I'll let you know that too. Just the facts. Just the facts. Till next time, see ya. Ellie. Okay, that's a better one.